A new free trade deal between Australia and the UK has been agreed in principle. Prime Minister Scott Morrison and his British counterpart Boris Johnson met overnight and resolved outstanding issues relating to the agreement. Here's Gabriele Suder from RMIT in Melbourne. Hi, Gabriele. So how big a deal and how important a deal is this?
Hello, and thank you for having me. This is very good news for all parties of this in principle free trade agreement. We hope to have the real news tonight, Australian time, but it's expected to lift the Australian economy by up to 1.3 billion each year. So from hopefully from tonight onwards, and as it will be enforced. It's wonderful news for the UK as well, of course, in particular because this is the first post-Brexit deal that has been really constructed from scratch, negotiated from scratch, and in addition has been negotiated in a record time of just 1 year, which is very, very unusual for free trade agreement negotiations.
So what range of products and services does it cover?
Well, that's still in the mystery of what is actually going to be in that final version. However, we do know that it is going to cover goods and services when it comes to both trade and investment. That is significant because Australia, the UK is Australia's fifth largest trading partner. So we're speaking import and export. And of course, that is significant, in particular at these moments in time with COVID and where supply chains and global value chains are under quite a bit of tension. Also, Australia is in investment and trade with the UK is significant. But when you look at investment, so literally companies coming out of the UK into Australia, you can see that that is more than 2.5 times of what we have happening in the other direction. Trying to say here, there's a lot of interest in the UK to actually come into our economy here. It's good news for us because that helps us grow. It's good news because there's innovation flowing both ways. And of course, it's good news as well in terms of, in addition to the business and investment side, that people-to-people links are being strengthened. And that, of course, democratic values across parts of the world are being strengthened here as well, because at the end of the day, this is not only one bilateral trade relation and agreement, but it's also about coming much closer to PPP, to the Trans-Pacific Partnership for the UK. So there's a lot going on in the background.
As you've already pointed out, Gabriele, this is the UK's first post-Brexit free trade agreement. So did this give Australia the upper hand in negotiations? Australia has struck a range of free trade agreements over the last 10 years or so. So really has been in less of a hurry to do a deal.
That's an interesting point. And I guess you have a bit of yes and a little bit of no and anywhere in between in the answer to that. Now, we do, of course, have 15 free trade agreements in place at this moment in time, and quite a few other negotiations happening with other parts of the world, including the EU. As well, and the Gulf Cooperation Council with India, the Pacific Alliance, and others. When we look at the UK, however, well, there's a lot of experience in a lot of economic power there as well. So this particular negotiations, in my reading, was really about striking the best deal possible for both sides, as comprehensive as possible as well. I mentioned innovation as part of it, but also all sorts of provisions and arrangements about, just to name, digital trade provisions. So something that is comprehensive, that is timely, that covers a lot of what is needed on both sides of the equation and makes our collaborations and relations stronger.
And what were the main stumbling blocks then that have clearly now been overcome?
Well, certainly there's always agriculture in the mix. There's also geographic indications, for example. It's one of those things that we know from the EU negotiations is always a little bit hard and challenging to look at. And that has certainly been part of the UK negotiations as well. There are interesting initiatives here as well, which are fairly unusual actually in free trade agreement negotiations, such as women's economic empowerment and other such initiatives that are very modern, very contemporary, and very, very timely again.
Gabriele Suder, thank you.
Thank you.